Yeah, when I first started rapping, I was a big fan of Denzel, and now we're friends, which is kind of funny. Um, and yeah, Absol, Top Dog Entertainment. I used to listen to some of that stuff too. I'm a big fan of Outkast. That's like my favorite. It's probably the only rap that I still listen to on a daily basis, to be honest. It's super experimental. That's why it's inspiring to me. I like any kind of music that's experimental or sort of all over the place. I think as a good starting point, the Kabbalion is probably the best place to start with like Hermeticism and the law of attraction and stuff like that. Because the law of attraction is just sort of a modern term for mental transmutation, which is ancient. Like thoughts become things, and you're a product, and your life is a product of the thoughts that you put out there. But yeah, the Kabbalion's great. The seven Hermetic principles. And then, if you want to get into Crowley, obviously the Book of the Law, the Book of Lies. But other than that, yeah, space and astrophysics I'm hugely passionate about. Recently I read the Astrophysics for People in a Hurry with Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's a great, like, sort of all-encapsulating. It goes into, like, a history of the universe from the Big Bang to the present, and then sort of everything down to the chemical makeup of the universe and stuff like that. Just super passionate about it because I don't think science and religion necessarily need to be separate because they complement each other in a lot of ways. There's no reason to really. You could advocate one or the other, but you almost can't have one without the other in some ways because there's certain things that are unexplained, and that leaves religious possibilities open and vice versa. So, but yeah, that's aside from music, those are like my biggest passions. I think, one of the most important things is just not losing sight of whatever it is that you want to do, because I think everybody out there has the one thing that they really want out of life or really want to do in life or whatever. But we have a lot of outside forces telling us that one thing may not be, the right thing to do because it's not smart or lucrative or whatever, but I think that if you stay focused on that one thing, no matter what, that it'll somehow materialize itself in your life. Like, I've always wanted to travel. I think even before I wanted to be a professional musician, I wanted to see the world, and I never lost sight of that, even when I was trapped in those cubicles for so many years. I would just have pictures up there. Like, it's stupid, and The Secret has like the whole make a collage bullshit, but I didn't do that, but I had just like a couple things here and there, like just pictures of mountains and shit. I didn't see mountains until I was 25 years old. So, and I kept these dreams, and you find yourself subconsciously taking steps to bring yourself there. I think that's really what it is when you break it down. Is the law of attraction is sort of just a way to say that if you stay mentally focused on something, your subconscious is gonna make you take the steps to make that happen, right? As long as you don't lose sight of your goal. I think that we start to vibrate at a much higher level and transcend the physical plane, and we just move on to the spiritual plane. Whether or not your actions or what you did in the physical plane has any bearing on where you live in that plane, I don't know. I like to think so. I think I believe in reincarnation and that souls have, an age, stuff like that, because you could tell, there's the term old soul is real. There's people that are much older than me that, still, it seems like they live like kids, because they haven't learned enough lessons or whatever like that. I don't like to put things in super neat categories like reincarnation or Buddhism or specific religion. I just like to take bits and pieces of what seems to make sense to me and kind of make it part of my own beliefs. I can believe something, but I could meet someone tomorrow that teaches me something and completely switches my belief around. I think it's important to live that way, just super open-minded. Does anime count? Oh, probably Griffith. Yeah, from Berserk, because he's an excellent example of like a protagonist who isn't necessarily the good guy, so to speak, but he, stands for what's positive in the series, I guess. But then he becomes taken over by power, and I think that's something that can easily happen to somebody who, is making their way up in life and is given power or something like that. It's easy to abuse that and use it the wrong way, and I think it's a lesson for people like, who I guess are type A personality competitive, to not abuse your power and try to always keep a balanced mind state and stuff like that. Honestly, my favorite moment is not a positive one though. I like when he I think it's the third one, when he starts to get consumed by the power he has, and he turns into this like the demon version of himself. I love that just because I'm really into like gory and crazy anime shit, but it's not necessarily positive or anything. I thought that was really cool to see what happened to him, because I wasn't expecting that when I started watching the series. But yeah. Okay, so the old favorites, I grew up on PlayStation, obviously, and the Twisted Metal series was always my favorite. Twisted Metal 2 is my favorite game, by far. I don't think any of the Twisted Metals they made after that, like, compared to that one. It was so good. And I still have, like, a code book with all the level codes and everything to get to the next levels. But newer games, the Fallout series, for sure. I'm a huge fan of that. I've played New Vegas and Fallout 4 like 3 or 4 times each, just to join different factions and see what happens. I like Final Fantasy 14. It's an MMO. Obviously the classic one, Final Fantasy 7 is awesome. And Final Fantasy 10, which kind of got me into like turn-based combat stuff. It's awesome. It's a compliment. I'll take it. Most of the comparisons I get are pretty good. Yeah, and people say Griffith too. Griffith is kind of one of the reasons I dyed my hair, to be honest, because I was so inspired. Yeah. Most of the lines in, like, if we're talking about recent songs, like most of the lines in Caliuga are super important to me, because I wrote that in a really one of the hardest emotional times of my life. I'm reading shit from kids that tell me they just want to quit. You're not alone. I feel like dying. And it's just basically to let everyone know. Because I get a lot of DM requests from kids and stuff that, say literally that they just want to quit life, or quit what they're doing, or, give up on whatever it is, or drop out of school or whatever. And it's like, the message is that, obviously it's self-explanatory. I've been there too, or I am there right now. And, it's, you don't have to give up like that, because we're all in this together, basically, and the whole song, like, even like I thought about taking my life on Periscope. Literally, like, I was like thinking about like, live streaming my suicide, because I was so fucking depressed, and I just was in the darkest place I've ever been. And there's no reason to go through with something like that when you haven't even explored all your options yet, and you haven't even seen what else there is. You think you've seen this or that, but there's so much more. I learned something literally every year, every couple of years, and I just look back at myself a year ago and I'm like, fuck, like, I was stupid as hell, for even thinking that way. But you're not the only one who suffers from that decision, and all you're doing essentially is taking your suffering and putting it on everybody else. And I think that's the worst thing you could do. Just know that you're not alone in feeling how you do, and I feel the same way every day, and I cope with it, so you can too. Depression is like, yeah, it's definitely real. It's definitely a chemical imbalance, for sure. A lot of times it could be, depending on how mild it is, it could be fought with just mindset, positive thinking, flipping things around. Other times it's really not that easy. It's legitimately a chemical imbalance, and you wake up every morning, you go to sleep every night, and you don't want to do anything that you're doing. You don't even want to breathe. You don't want to see the light of day, But it's like, you got to find... I actually realized this today. I was in the van, and I was feeling really depressed, And then Nedar did something stupid or said something stupid, and I started laughing. And I instantly just realized, like, wow, I feel better. Even if it's for this 30 seconds, like, I feel great. And it made me realize, like, laughter, like they say, really is the best medicine. Like, I try to watch, like, funny shit or something, and it, believe it or not, it, you know, really helps, because it's hard to be sad if you're laughing, you know, in the moment that you're laughing, even if it's just those little moments of happiness, it helps, you know. I mean, on a personal note, for me, like, until I did mushrooms, my music was, like, really rigid. Like, it's kind of the reason my music is the way it is, in my opinion. My ex-girlfriend, actually, I took mushrooms with her for the first time, and I went from making really rigid, like, it was like boom bap style music, but it wasn't even good, to making just, like, all of a sudden really wavy, like, psychedelic funk type stuff. And I tripped a lot after that, and it just sort of opened my mind, I think. It's kind of cheesy and cliche, because some people can get that way without tripping, but me personally, when I take psychedelics, it's the only drug that I really like, because it kind of just opens my mind to, like, different possibilities, and realize that there's not just one way to see things. For me, like, the come down is the best, because that's when I'm inspired to, like, just do some new shit, you know? Oh, fuck. Dude, it's so cheesy and stupid, but the biggest thing that turns me on more than anything is a girl who's smart as fuck. Like, even a girl who's, like, smarter than me. Like, if you could teach me something, like, that's, like, serious. Like, the girl I'm with now is a nursing student, and she's also super passionate about, like, astrophysics and stuff, and that's, like, she's a model too, but that's not, like, what drew me to her. Like, it was you know, the mental stuff, because, like, there's girls that, like, even if I'm physically attracted to you, like, if you're stupid, like, I can't even, you know, get turned on or anything. It's just, like, a waste. So yeah, definitely, like, intelligence is my biggest thing. I love Gus, you know, and there's so many memories. It's ridiculous. Just because I talked about it last night, I remember it off top. Probably one of my favorites was I remember I was living with him in Pasadena with our friend Brennan Savage, and me and Brennan were kind of roasting Gus because he had that song Beamer Boy, but he actually at the time, like, had never driven a car, so we were roasting him about it. We were like, oh, like, you can't even drive a Beamer if you got one. So he's like, you know what, I'm gonna get in the car right now, I'm gonna show you guys. So we got in Brennan's car, and he, like, pulls out and he starts, like, driving it, and it was like some student driver shit. Like, he was just like, just, like, stopping and everything. And if he was here, he'd probably, like, argue with me about it, but me and Brennan were just laughing the whole time, and, like, was low-key scared, but he, you know, it felt like a driving lesson or something. It was hilarious, but I don't know, that's just a good memory. It was pretty funny. But yeah, it's really weird how all that happened, you know, and then we ended up going our separate ways musically and stuff, and found success in our own way, and I'm really proud of him, you know. But yeah, we would talk. We still would touch base, like, every once in a while. Like, he would randomly just send me, like, a selfie or something, and I would send one back, just, like, bullshit, like, you know, I see you and you guys are killing it, or blah blah blah. But yeah, I think it's important to always, like, try to make an effort to stay in touch with people that you care about, you know, for sure. Message to the youth, kind of like I stated before, you know, don't let anybody tell you that you can't do or be something that you really want to do or be, you know. Fuck societal norms and fuck molds and all that bullshit, you know, just stay focused on your goals and what you want to do, and don't lose sight of that shit. Shouts out Montreality.
Montreality Show.